Good morning. I'm Anna Shepherd, Superintendent of Floyd County Schools. I'm thankful to be here and to be working as part of a countywide team to help keep our communities informed, healthy, and as safe as possible. I'm happy to inform our school communities that due to the decline we're seeing within the state incidence rate data as well as Floyd County Schools COVID-19 dashboard data on number of active and quarantine cases, and as recommended and supported by CDC and the Department of Public Health while masking indoors, we will begin as of today following the 10-5-10 protocol in regards to quarantines. This will hopefully allow us more days of students in-person learning and staff a quicker return to work. This is provided we are masking indoors, have negative test results upon return, and have no symptoms. As a school district, we will continue to monitor COVID-19 case data as well as student and staff absences. Our COVID-19 dashboard is on our school district website for the community to monitor as well. Our Floyd County health experts will explain the change and what it means for each of us at this time for our school district and our county. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Thurston Sloan. I'm just going to go over a little bit this morning about the 10-5-10 infographic that we've been posting a lot of. There's been a lot of confusion, and we hope this morning we'll clear up some of that. So briefly, if you're positive for COVID and you have symptoms, the recommendation is a 10-day isolation. If your symptoms are fully resolved after the 5th day from your test, which is actually day 6, you do not count the first day, that's day 0, and if you can wear a well-fitting mask consistently for the next 10 days, you could shorten your isolation period. Going forward, this is something that will be accepted by the school system, since in the past we have tried to stick with the 10 days. Does it mean you have to come back to school in 10 days? No. It means it's all based on your symptoms with COVID and your experience. We do know from our experience, some people are not able to come back within that time period. It's just too soon, depending on what kind of health issues they have going on and so forth. If you've tested positive and you've never had any symptoms, particularly if you're vaccinated, then 5 days from the date you had your test done, you can be out of isolation. Again, you need to continue to wear the mask for 5 days consistently for a total of 10 days that we would consider mask with isolation. If you're not up to date with your COVID vaccine and you have a close contact with someone diagnosed, then you do need to quarantine for 10 days from exposure. With quarantine, that again can be shortened to 5 days if you have no symptoms and if you test negative for COVID on day 5. So you return to work or school, you wear a well-fitting mask, and then you stay home if you have symptoms. That's basically all this infographic says, and a lot of people have been very confused by it, but it's really pretty straightforward and simple. So I guess now we're going to have Annette Harris, who's the Regional Healthcare Coordinator for the school, talk about their plans as far as how to move forward with school and the district.
It's been a long 2 years of trying to handle everything within our schools to keep our kids at school, keep our staff at school, and to keep everybody safe. So, we are excited about the decreasing numbers that we're starting to see across the county and across the district. On February the 4th, we had 756 kids in our district that were either isolated or in quarantine due to COVID. On Friday, February the 11th, we had 442 kids that were in isolation or in quarantine. That was a drastic drop in numbers. As of yesterday evening, we had 322 children that were either in isolation or quarantine. And we're seeing the same decrease in the staff that we have across the district. As Ms. Sloan said, we're going to see some changes across the school system in the fact that, we hope that with vaccinations and with people being asymptomatic, we can get people back to school and back to work a lot sooner. One thing that will definitely change, and you'll see a change in that starting today, is that we will no longer require quarantines for school exposures. We are still a district with a mask mandate, so we know that our kids are wearing masks and our staff members are wearing masks inside the schools, and we are following distancing and hand washing protocol, so we will no longer do the quarantines for in-school exposures. We will, however, notify parents if there is an exposure in a classroom, so that they know their child has been exposed or potentially exposed, and they need to monitor for symptoms. We do, after an exposure, recommend, and it's not mandatory, but we do recommend for those children that they be tested within 5 days. 5 days is usually a good mark to test to see if someone has contracted the virus by being exposed. But you know, everything in this new protocol hinges on mask wearing in the schools, and definitely the non-quarantines of classes, which will make a vast difference in the number of kids that we have in school. We will continue to offer test to stay. The big change with that is that we are also going to add staff to that. So we are at the 5th day, if someone's coming back and they have to have a test to come back, it has to be negative. We will offer testing at the school for staff and students. If there were to be a situation where we did not have tests available, because there is a shortage right now of tests, then we will have updated information for a testing facility that we can send the individual or the parent to be tested. But we are in process of trying to make sure that we're able to test at the schools in every situation. But if not, we will have connections to outside agencies to try to get testing done. The people that are in quarantine and in isolation now, we have like I said, we have 322 kids that are in quarantine or isolation. So parents need they can check with us, or they can check with the school, or you know, a lot of parents may already know themselves. If those kids are at the 5-day mark and they're not having any symptoms, then they're going to be able to come back to school as long as they're wearing their mask and following protocol. So that's going to be a little confusing today because we have so many out in quarantine and isolation. Just be patient with us and work with us today as we solve that situation and try to get everybody back to school and back to work that is within that 5-day range. If there's any questions or concerns, you can always call me at the Board of Education at 886-2354. Ms. Sloan's staff here at the Health Department is great at working with everyone and answering questions about COVID and protocol, and Ms. Sloan. So we're always available to answer questions. There probably will be a lot of questions today, and we'll do everything that we can today to try to help everyone understand the changes going forward. Thank you.
And I think that pretty much wraps it up, what we wanted to make the public aware of, particularly our school system, because there has been a lot of confusion, and our goal is to keep kids healthy, keep the staff healthy, and most important of all, have school in person. We think it's very important.
And if I can just add that, remember Ms. Harris said if you're at the 5-day mark, you can return, but I want to remind families that you would return to us or to a facility to be tested. So you'll return masking and with a negative test,
Yes.
if you're at that 5-day mark.